All right. We at Hooked2Hunt, or for most of us at Hooked2Hunt, are just wrapping up our 2022 whitetail deer season.
No, not me. I still got a tag burning a hole in my pocket.
Yeah, for most of us, we're just wrapping up our deer season. John might get out a few more times. But getting close to the end of the season, and I know you guys are all avid hunters, just like we are. In your mind, even though it comes to the end, you're not done thinking about whitetail deer season. You're thinking about next year.
There's never an end to deer season.
There's never an end. My mind starts racing, and immediately I start thinking about what can I do to help improve deer season next year. And that's what we want to talk about today. We're going to talk about what things we're doing now and we'll be doing here shortly during the winter, during the postseason to help us out. So one of the first things you should do coming out of whitetail season or getting close to the end, if you're not doing it along the way, but I do suggest you do it along the way, that's make sure you capture notes and then reflect on your season. So think about those hunts that you had. Did you get busted in any of your stands? If you got busted, why did you get busted? Is the wind direction wrong for how you're hunting? Do you need to move the stand? Do you not have a good enough backdrop where you're at?
How you enter the stand.
How you enter the stand. Does the stand need to be higher? So do you need to put up new stands or move one a lot farther away? How did you see that deer movement? Or is you think about your deer traffic. Maybe you didn't have the traffic you wanted or not the correct traffic at night. What are the reasons for that? There's all types of details you can capture, and keeping notes along the way will help you reflect back on that.
And Joe is actually coming out with a new notebook that will help hunters keep notes like that. That way you can kind of keep it with you when you're hunting.
Yeah, so I'm hoping it'll be done and finished and completed by the time
this video hits air.
Yeah, by the time this video hits air. It will be available on Amazon, and it will help you capture all the details from weather, deer movement, wind.
Anything a hunter would need to make a note of.
Dates, you name it. So also think when you're recapping everything, how many deer did you see? Did you not see barely any deer? Was there no deer traffic really where you're at? Do you need to go scout and find new ground to hunt, look into more public ground? Or do you just need to make property improvements to try to attract more deer to your property? So keep that in mind. And speaking of property improvements.
So as you guys heard earlier, that we just bought a new property. We just bought this place the middle of October. We actually were able to move in. I think October 14th we closed. And with the property, the first thing I did as far as property improvements is I threw a mock scrape in because I didn't have time to put a food plot in or anything like that. So you put a mock scrape in, you're going to centralize your deer movement.
I know a little bit about mock scrapes. So I'm telling you right now, if you don't utilize mock scrapes and licking branches,
you're missing out.
You're missing a huge opportunity. Now, normally, I wouldn't suggest that you would go and put these in the middle of the rut, but honestly, you can put them in any time. John proved that.
Deer make them all year round, and they do visit them all year round.
Yeah.
So, and it don't take long for them to get established.
So once you start having that deer scent and the deer take over on the mock scrape, even one deer starts utilizing that, deer will start going out of their way to go look at that mock scrape. And mock scrapes take like no money at all to establish. So it's something as an easy attraction.
This guy's used his own urine.
Yeah, I'll pee in my own scrape to get it going. That's not a myth. You know what I mean? 24 hours later or whatever, the only scent they're going to smell around that scrape is probably your own body scent from going in there. But they're not going to really pick up anything.
Urine's urine.
Yep. So it's just more urine in the scrape, and it helps to get it started. But definitely something you can utilize. You could put that in right now to try to draw deer right to where your stand location's at.
And they use them all year round.
So John bought this property going right into hunting season. So he had a late start. He threw his scrape in on,
I think it was October 21st. And we got footage within a week, multiple deer coming into it and visiting it. Actually, some nice bucks, too.
Yep. He's already kind of getting an idea what bucks were in the area. Actually shot one of the bucks that he identified were in the area.
I never seen that buck on trail cam, though.
Oh.
I never seen him on trail camera. He was chasing a young doe late in December. He made the mistake of chasing her too close to me.
Picked up one of the neighbor's bucks. But that being said, before we get too sidetracked, so John already made the mock scrape improvement. What other improvements do you think you're going to be focusing on?
Well, so I have 6.5 acres, which I'm never going to hold deer on my property. But I want them to visit my property to eat. So the best way to bring deer onto my property is food. So, and 6.5 acres is not a lot to utilize for food plots. So one of the big improvements that we're going to do is we're going to plant a lot of different trees, a variety, chestnuts, white oaks, persimmon, apples, pears, plums, a variety, a plethora of food. These deer,
Smorgasbord.
a smorgasbord. These deer are going to know the food's here.
John's fridge. He's going to welcome all the deer to John's fridge.
Eat my groceries. That way I can get my groceries.
So, so speaking of some of those improvements, what types of things are you doing right now?
So a winter project that Joe and I are going to do is we're actually going to start our own trees from seed. So we've been ordering seeds. So right now we're in the process of cold stratification of our seeds. So what cold stratification is fooling these seeds by putting them in the refrigerator to feel that it's wintertime, which it is, but we want to be able to control that wintertime so that 120 days after wintertime, we can bring them out and get them going. So then those trees have a head start for the planting season.
Yeah, and that 120 days, it's a little bit different depending on what type of plant
Well, cold stratification.
Cold stratification, yeah. But he's probably referring to chestnuts.
90 to 100 days.
So, but either way, we'll have more videos regarding cold stratification.
Where we go more in depth.
Yep. So, but either way, that's something that we're working on. This video is just a quick thing to get you guys an idea of some of the things we're working on that we're doing immediately after deer season. But for each one of these topics, we'll have more videos coming out more thoroughly on how we're doing that. The mock scrapes, we'll have a thorough video on that as well.
Oh, yeah. We got lots of footage of mock scrapes.
I'm telling you, if you do them right and it's easy to do, you are going to be able to attract more deer, 100% more deer than what you were doing already. So it's after deer season, right, for most areas. I did, honestly, on the way up here, see some of the Orange Army out in a few different places.
Oh, yeah. That's Iowa.
Yeah. I saw some blockers out.
They like driving their deer.
Yeah. Hop out of your truck, go stand by the truck, and wait for the deer to come your way, which, don't get me wrong, I did that for years. And it's fun being out with the boys.
The camaraderie is cool. I get the camaraderie.
But I will tell you, I was just recapping, and I'm kind of getting sidetracked. I was just recapping all the larger bucks. We used to hunt all kinds of property and have all kinds of access. And out of all the years hunting in the group when I was younger, I don't remember anybody shooting a 5-year-old buck or older.
No.
I just...
They're smart. They'll circle around.
You know what I mean? They're already going to be pushed off that property half the time by the time you show up. Or, even the larger case, the odds are when you have that much pressure with large groups, they might not be getting that old either. And if your groups are shooting them, either you guys did a good job managing the population, you got a lot of property.
Someone else pushed that deer into your property.
Or there's a neighbor property where they're not pressuring the deer, and that's how that buck got that old. But before I get too sidetracked...
Come on, Joe. Stay on subject. He likes to ramble.
After the Orange Army and everybody else comes through, you're gun hunters. And don't get me wrong, I gun hunt too. And I have a good time doing it. But after that's all said and done, I want to know...
Who made it?
Yeah, I want to know what shooters are still out there. I want to know what 3-year-olds, 3.5-year-olds, 4-year-olds...
Possibilities.
...that I wasn't going to shoot this year that are going to be probably large possibilities next year. So how do we go about doing that?
There's lots of ways. Trail cams is number one. I mean, you want to take an inventory of what you got out there. So trail cams is huge. We prefer cell cams, which we'll have a video on cell cams as well. The best way to do that is, if you can, you got to check your local law. Some supplemental feeding, some mineral sites, anything like that where you can focus the deer in. Even mock scrapes.
John's fairy dust.
My fairy dust, yeah. They'll still hit mock scrapes too. So
we'll have a video on that too. Well, first off, we'll see what what deer survived, right? Which ones are still out there, especially before you're going to want to do this right away before
they shed.
Before the sheds all start falling. But get the roll call right away before the sheds start dropping. Not only that, if you do see that they're out there, and then you can see them pass through again without the shed, then you know to hit the woods and go out and find those sheds. So in addition to that, at the same time, we're going to be multitasking this year, and we're going to be testing out some cell cams. So we're going to have at least 4, maybe we'll come up with a 5th, types of different cell cams. Some of them I've used a lot, John used a lot, and then we're throwing in some new ones we found that are available for pretty good pricing online, and we want to see how they compare to some of the stuff we've already been using. And we're going to do that at the same time. We already got deer coming into a spot, and we're going to have everything set up so it takes the same pictures, and we'll get you that as well in a future video. But roll call is important. We're testing some gear along the way, so because I want to know what additional cell cams I'm going to be adding to my arsenal.
Oh, cell cams are huge anymore. You don't need them, but they definitely help. I mean, hunting has come so far, and now I'm getting off topic, but hunting has come so far where when I first started hunting, I've been hunting now, killing deer for over 22 years. But when I first started hunting, like, you didn't know what was in the area. You just read the deer sign and sat there and hoped something big came by. Where now, us as hunters, we have such a huge advantage because we can see, oh, that's a 2-year-old. We'll let that one go because we got this 4-year-old that's there. So hunting has just come so far.
Yeah, and you invest so much of your time in the woods preparing. I don't know how many arrows you guys all fire, but I fire a lot of arrows. Go through a lot of D-loops. So I was just talking about having to replace my D-loop again. That'll get into something we'll talk about later. But you think about how much time and money you invest in it, and I will tell you the cell cams really help you make the most out of the investment, because when you do start spending that time in the woods, you got a lot better idea of where to spend it.
It's money management.
I chose not to hunt probably about 6 or 7 stands at least this year, just because I didn't have
the activity,
or I didn't feel confident that it would be a good hunt going in there. I didn't have a target buck, and I focused my time and efforts where I knew the deer were at. What other things do you think are important?
Go through your equipment. I mean, if you want to make an arrow change, you found that new broadhead you want to try out, or you want to change your fletching, or you found that new sight that you want to use, this is the time to do that stuff. That way, come next hunting season or this hunting season, you're ready to go. It's game on. You don't want to do that stuff before hunting season, right at hunting season. You want to do it plenty of time and get comfortable with that equipment.
So I did fire a lot of arrows this year. I got to replace my D-loop again. But more importantly than just trying to figure out what gear you might want to switch out, which this is the time to start doing that, right? It's postseason. It gives you a lot of time to get practice and tune in. But more importantly, look over your gear. So a lot of you guys will be using the same arrows that you shot last year.
Here, I'm going to grab one, actually.
John just ran and grabbed something here, but I mentioned make sure you look over your arrows. A lot of us are shooting the same arrows over and over, and we like to reuse our gear, save some money.
Look at that arrow. Does anything look out of the ordinary with that? Just visually.
So
visually, no.
Visually, it's hard to see, but look them over very, very good, because if right in here, and I haven't looked at this arrow yet, but right in the middle here, you can tell there's a crack forming. And you put a little pressure on the arrow and spin it.
You can hear it.
Here, do that right next to the mic. See if we can hear that here. But you can hear it crackling. You go and fire
the carbon fiber.
You go and fire this arrow. You might be one of those unlucky son of a guns that take a half arrow through your hand.
Right through your thumb.
So look over your gear. Inspect your arrows. Inspect your all your gear. D-loops switched out.
Wax your string. Keep your string waxed. That is probably, if you ask, your bow shop guys, that's probably the most neglected thing to do is put wax in your string. Keep them from fraying.
So, and then like John said, if you need any upgrades,
now's the time to do it.
Now's the time to do it. So one thing that totally has taken my archery skills to another level recently So outside hunting strategy, you have your archery skill. You did all the hunting strategy right all year long, and you have the opportunity to shoot deer. You want to make sure you can shoot the deer, right, and not miss. Well, it takes firing a lot of arrows for one, and that's something that he's pushed and gave me shit for in my earlier years.
I practice. 3Ds, practice, everything. It's shooting.
But you got to get
muscle memory.
Yep, you got to put the muscle memory in. You got to have the practice. But in addition to that, it's nice to have a skilled another archer there watching what's going on. And that's one thing John and I, we watched each other shoot.
We pushed each other.
I caught that he had the wrong anchor point on his nose, and he was putting too much pressure on his nose, which that'll throw your shot off. And he also noticed that my peep sight was a little low. But in addition to that, you get, especially if you don't have a skilled buddy or friend to notice these things for you, a few other things you can do is, one, you can videotape yourself. That's helped us out as well. Notice that, especially
since
when
we started Hooked2Hunt.
Especially when we do our videos, when we're focusing on so many other things going on, we notice we ended up gaining some bad habits like trigger punching and some other things.
Sometimes our form's not 100% like it should be.
So you can work out a lot of things by having it recorded and review it. But in addition to that, if you don't have a skilled friend or you're not going to record yourself, and either way, I think you should do this. Go to a skilled archery shop and make sure everything's dialed in. Have them look over your bow. It's well worth the time. I worked out a lot of kinks and had my stuff dialed in at Bear Creek Archery. That's where John and I go. And
Russ takes care of us. And if you can start with a paper tune, at least that way you're starting at 0, you can only go from there.
Yeah, and there's a lot more things, right? If you been a bow hunter for a while, you know there's a lot more things to it than just paper tuning. And
That's
you got to have you have to have the right equipment and the right knowledge to do it. Spend the day in the archery shop. It'll help change your game big time.
And it's fun.
You can go and transform from the guy who can accurately shoot 20, 30 yards to somebody that feels super confident shooting at 50 yards.
He actually killed a deer this year. What, 50?
Yeah, it was at 50, out of a saddle. And
I haven't done that yet. I haven't shot a deer out of my
Actually,
saddle.
I've shot my last 4 deer out of the saddle.
I killed my muzzleloader deer out of the saddle, and that's it.
That's another thing that completely changed the game. I actually have now that you say that, I have a saddle video that I did recently, saddle hunting for beginners and setup.
We have one that we first started with saddles too.
So check that one out, right up here. I don't know what corner
it's
going to be.
down here.
It'll be up here. Just don't know what corner, but I'll post it up there so you can check that out if you are interested. It can change your game, but I won't go too far in details. But definitely, great time of the year. If you update your bow, put the practice in, put the time in, make sure that thing's dialed in. Right now, this is the time where I go and haul my big bag to my garage, and I work out a lot of bad habits. And this is one of the last things that I would say that I did prior to going and shooting during the summer at a lot longer distances, is I worked on a lot of the basics, and I'm shooting at 10 yards, 15 yards in my garage, not a long distance. Shooting at little tiny dots.
We can get that in here.
But it's something you can do very easily, and it's actually really important because you can sit there and just focus on feet position, your posture and everything, and your release, and you can work out a whole lot of bad habits. So get your bags into your garages. Hopefully,
if your wife doesn't have a problem with it.
I was gonna say, as long as she doesn't have a problem with that, and you're confident you're gonna put it in holes in the wall. You know, I mean, I haven't done it yet, so
yeah, you better knock on wood.
I'll be all right. But either way, get the practice in, and it'll make a world of difference. And what else are you gonna do this winter besides that other huge list of stuff we just named off?
Right. And then on top of that, now is a great time to start your meet.
Just spent all last weekend.
WTF, right?
Yeah. Whitetails taste fantastic. So I just spent this whole last weekend processing my meat. Of course, when I harvest the deer, I cut them all up. My loins and your roasts and everything get packaged and put away. But I have all the scrap meat all sitting together, and I keep on piling on that scrap meat and freezing it. And then we did a grind last week.
Yep.
And We ground that all up, and I just got done making some different brats and some summer sausage.
Everyone loves your sausage.
Everyone loves my sausage. So if you are interested in a good summer sausage, I'm not gonna lie, like I just made summer sausage for about
it's
10
good.
people.
That's just his pun.
I just made summer sausage for like 10 people because every year somebody else is asking me for more of it.
His batch gets bigger and bigger.
It does.
You should start a side hustle.
It's a lot of work. But either way, I got a video for that somewhere up here too, if you are interested. But yeah, process the meat. Don't procrastinate on it. Don't waste all that good meat. If you're a person that does save that stuff to the end.
By the time you get your bow, by the time you get your truck, by the time you get your gas, your four-wheeler, your arrows, your sights, you break that all down and divide it. I mean, that's pretty high per pound. So don't waste it, guys.
Don't waste it. Taste it. I just made that one up out of nowhere.
Cut that out. Cut that. I just made that up. I like that. Wasted.
All right, we'll leave you with that. Before you go, I want you to know we do greatly appreciate the support from all you other avid deer hunters out there. We love the feedback, so
stay in touch. Comment down below if we missed something that you think of, that something that we could do. Let us know.
And if you like our content,
like, share, subscribe, become part of the Hooked2Hunt tribe, guys. Hey, Merry Christmas. It's a week out, so Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Hey, stay safe.
all right, Hooked2Hunt out.